joined by Anthony Wu, who happens to be up in Canada. I know him. We've spent some time. Actually, like he's kind of been on my entire journey, and I've been on a lot of his. So, but he's got a business up in Canada. So, actually, Anthony, if you could just take it away, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your business and kind of where you're headed.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Willie, for having me.
Yes,
Nice
sir.
meeting you, Mike. And first time here. Yeah, I'm been in the trade for about 20 years as a technician. Turned owner in 22, right after the pandemic. Decided to kick things off. Realized I've been hitting a lot of ceilings with previous employers, and I was looking for improved knowledge or ways of bettering my own skills. And I stumbled upon NCI and John Ellis, and it's really helped me develop the way my business has grown and that mindset. Just surrounding myself with people that are smarter than me in bigger rooms. So that's how I've kind of been building my business since 22. So this is year 5 of our company. We're residential, strictly residential HVAC, retrofit, electric air handlers, and cold climate heat pumps. It's where we're at. And yeah, that's just what we're here to do. And, we're here to elevate the trades and share what it takes. I was talking to Mike a little bit earlier, just before this podcast, about, finding our identity as technicians, how we became owners and what drove us to becoming owners.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things that I'm kind of, taking that journey myself. And I, honestly did not realize the growth that I've gone through in the last 5 years until, I sit down and talk to guys like Mark and Mike and Wooly and other people that are starting to, talk to me about it. And I'm like, yeah, I was back there, but, it's all about that journey. And I'm starting to appreciate that journey a bit more. I did feel like I was stuck for the last couple of years just because I'm chasing goals that are always moving forward. And I don't feel like I'm moving fast enough. But, being in different rooms and talking to different people, it really brings me back to tell me, hey, you know what? Remember where you were 3 years ago? I was like, oh yeah, I was there. And that's something, a motivation I have going forward. And talking about discovering identity with Mike just a few minutes ago, is now I want to share that journey with others. Anybody that's thinking about going off on their own, what it takes, what is that mindset behind going through that journey? What are the fears? How do we face the fears? What are the responsibilities? Great, the grass is not always green on the other side, depending what you're looking for. It's not, being an owner, it's not your 9 to 5, getting paid your 100K a year type deal. But hey, it is what it is. There's joys in it, and there's other stuff. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and where I'm currently at.
That's awesome, man. I love watching your story unfold. You are inspiring. I tell you this, like, probably on a weekly basis, but you are inspiring to the HVAC community, not only to myself, but to a lot of other people out there that have aspirations of doing all these great things. I realize that when you're looking at it and you're at the time of, like, it just feels like you're constantly grinding. It feels like you're not making any progress. Just like you, man. But I look back just a couple of years. Matter of fact, I just told my wife just yesterday, I was like, man, honestly, if I look back just like 3 years ago, I could only have dreamed to be in this position at that point in time. And right now I'm like, this sucks. I need to get out of this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a funk kind of thing.
Yeah.
And in all reality, like, I dreamed of being in this location like just a few years ago.
Awesome.
But so also over here, so some of you guys have not met him. We have Michael over here with us. He is currently a moderator for the HVAC is Life group. He, I believe, still does like commercial appliance repair, et cetera, et cetera. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself, Michael, and if that's actually true still.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, I work for a commercial kitchen and refrigeration contractor. We also do rooftop HVAC. Most of our customers are well-known restaurant chains that you've been to or eat at every day. I've frequently shared pictures from the rooftop of, of this business or that, and taking in the view of the Illinois River or something. I live in Bloomington, Illinois, which is like 45 minutes from the Illinois River, and then Peoria, Illinois, which you may have heard of, is right like less than an hour away, and that's actually where my company is based. So
Okay.
yeah, in that same way, I've kind of been transitioning from about the last year out of residential and into commercial kitchen and learning more refrigeration and commercial restaurant HVAC, and it's a different animal, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Right on. And if anybody has any questions out there, that is what we're here for. We're strictly here to answer your questions. And we have some great minds with us tonight. So make sure that you're dropping your questions, whether you're watching us on Facebook, on YouTube. I believe he's got us out on Instagram and TikTok now. Is that accurate, Willie? Are we at all of them?
I'm sorry to say that, fellas. I'm sorry to say that. I tried my best. I tried my best.
Facebook and YouTube currently. Are we anything else?
Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and
Twitch.
I guess the Riverside application as well.
Perfect.
So
if anywhere that you guys are at, drop a comment down below, ask your questions, get those out there. Nobody should be stuck currently. Nobody should be hitting any speed bumps. If you are stuck currently in your business as a tech, whatever, what have you, drop it down below. But from there, I would love to dive in a little bit more to the world of Anthony Wu, who just happens to have won the NCI Contractor of the Year award this last year. And please tell us a little bit, because a lot of people don't even know about NCI. Tell us how the hell we get in there and what it's all about, if you could.
Yeah, the NCI, for those who don't know, is the National Comfort Institute. They're an elite training organization where they train to very high standards. And in 24, I did not even know what high performance contracting was. I was honestly a glorified box changer up until then. I knew how to do my job very well. We installed very well, but we were never tracking data. Our installs looked pretty. It felt nice. That's what all it was. Until I joined NCI, which is high performance contracting is data-driven contracting, basically. So learning how to use the tools to collect and harvest actual data and knowing how to tune in the system, especially with the evolution of our cold climate heat pumps, ECM, airflow, static pressure, all that stuff becomes crazy important for the industry. And understanding and having the tools to do it was super important. So for me to join NCI, the truth is I didn't know what NCI was in 24. I was actually chasing John Ellis. I tried to, one of the transitions I was going for was IAQ coming out of, the pandemic in 22 was, all right, let me see how I can develop on the IAQ aspect of our company. And, you go look up HVAC IAQ, what's the name you're going to see? It's going to be John Ellis. I've messaged him a few times, tried to get him into Quebec, but because of the French, he cannot, our manufacturers, our distributors won't bring him in because he will only be able to speak to like a fraction of contractors type thing. So they didn't find it was going to be worth it. Then I asked him to see if he would, go to Ontario side and I'll bring my team over there. But then the Ontario distributors were like, hey, we don't have enough people that are interested in this stuff. So I'm like, okay, hey, John, next time you do any kind of session in the States that, I can get to, let me know. And he messaged me, he's like, hey, I'm going to be speaking at the 24 NCI panel. I'm like, great, sign me up. Went on, got tickets, not knowing what it was, where it was. Ended up in North Carolina, Asheville, right before they got flooded in 24. We left literally like 2 days before that flooding. That's when the world changed for me. Just learning what high performance contracting is, learning about the courses NCI had to offer, talking to, elite contractors. This is where I was talking to Mike and Mark and Willie earlier about chasing those bigger goals. I was meeting guys like Chap Simpson from Simpson Salute, making, doing over 20 mil in revenue. I'm like here, just breaking a mil at the time. I was like, man, that is where I want to be. And that's why for me, it's like that goal just kept like going. As I guess it's easier as you get bigger. You just got more momentum. But that first, to get the ball rolling did feel really slow to me. But it was actually pretty fast from the outside. It's what I'm understanding from a lot of other contractors I'm speaking to right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, after I did the 24 NCI Summit, the one big thing that changed for me was the night I was at the gala, because I did not know anybody there. I just sat at a random table. And I happened to have sat at a table where every single member of that table were previous award winners. And it was super inspirational. I met lady that used to own Kenko in Canada, Nancy, and Mike Greeny out in California. And I was telling them, you know what? One day I'm going to walk that stage just like you guys. It's little did I know, 1 year later, it happened. But through that 24 to 25, I was like in it. Every single training course that NCI had to offer, I signed up for everything. As I met people through the training, I kept connected with everybody. And the biggest difference is the fear and obstacles that I feared once upon a time was dissolved when you're able to have such a great network of professionals. When I started doing my static pressure testing in ductwork, what I realized is my market is very different from a lot of guys in the States. For example, I don't do attic stuff. I don't do flex duct. We have finished basement, metal ductwork. So how do you access certain things? So I met a lady in Chicago, Dawn from GV's. Her market very similar to ours, super helpful. Anytime I had a questions like, hey, look, I have like this type of duct, I'm having this kind of pressure. What can I look at? And she messaged me back right away. It's like, oh, check this and that. Done. Oh, so that is another way of unlocking a different level of confidence rather. Whenever you had doubt, learning something new is always very daunting when you don't, you show up on site and you're like, oh, damn, what am I doing here? Or what does this mean? And when you build such a great network of people, like the coalition, for example, the helpline, great people on the other side of that line. And just knowing that you have that help, it's really that mental block and fear is what really unlocked it. Once that was unlocked, it was like I felt unstoppable. Anytime I had an obstacle, it's like someone just handed me a battering ram or a ladder. It doesn't matter what it is, but I'm getting over, around it, or through it. And I think that is truly how I got to, becoming the contractor of the year. And when I was being announced, they were saying, how I was doing things at breakneck speeds. And that was the first time I had to slow down and it's like, man, yeah, that is where I was. And, getting back to just talking to other contractors and understanding why was this, I was doing things in a way that, oh, is that how it's supposed to be done? Take the training, see how you're going to deploy it, buy the tools. But I realized talking to a lot of contractors, a lot of the mindset is take the training, learn it, figure out later with no plan, no intention. And I think that is where failure happens. And I think that's where I set myself apart was even before my training, I was selling jobs. For example, it's like, oh, duct optimization. All right. I'm about to get my duct balancing rather was a good one. I was going to go get my duct balancing certification. I told the client, I cannot do this now, but in about 2 months, I'm going to be certified in doing it. And if you like, I'll book you an appointment for 2 months' time and I'll come back and get that balancing done. So in those 2 months, I went to order my True Flow grid. I ordered the balancing hood. I have my course signed up. I know who I'm going with. I got me, my partner, and one of my lead technician. So I already have a plan. I got the job sold, so there's no going back. And I think that's
Right.
how I've been able to deploy so rapidly. And I think that is a big difference from what I understand when I talk to a bunch of other contractors about, how am I doing it? It's just I think that is the biggest key difference when it comes up.
Just taking that extra step.
I think
Yeah.
that is a very important step. It's just
Yeah.
going in with intention and being ready. How are you going to utilize that training? And I did a little reel about it back a few months ago about, if you go training without intention, you're just going to shelf it. That is where you're wasting your money. And that is where a mistake I did not want to make because someone mentioned it in one of the trainings or in one of the rooms I was in. I was like, you know what? And that's kind of that mindset. Whenever I do go for training, it's not just the training. For one, is meet the people in the room, get to know everybody. Two, the training. Be intentional. Have the tools ready. How are you going to deploy it? Having that plan of action, I think it's what's going to help propel anybody to go anywhere. Really, just committing to one training doesn't mean it's going to do anything. The training alone is not going to do anything, but it's the intentions behind it and the execution with that training. And I did not back off. It was just like, 0 to 100. And that's, you know, being in it 2 years, been, 26. Yeah. I'm like second year in getting high performance contracting and really getting to be data driven. It's just really changed the way I just think and grow the business.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, like you touched on it, the networking aspect in business is huge. And Willie just posted about it the other day. Like, you need to be networking with fellow, not even just HVAC guys, but like fellow other businesses in general.
Yeah.
The amount of knowledge and information that is passed and you can gain in a very quick amount of time is asinine that you would like try to go about this yourself. Like, it's hard enough to build a business. But out there trying to do it all by yourself and learn every single aspect of every single thing and have every single mistake yourself, like learn from other people that have already made the mistakes, and you'll excel and accelerate your growth at a massive rate to where everybody says that you're at breakneck speeds and whatnot. So kudos to you, though, for listening, because nobody freaking listens in the world. And so, like, you're not only networking with people, but you're actually absorbing the information that is being thrown at you. And that's the real key right there, because a lot of people they'll listen to a lot of crap, but in reality they're just trying to think about themselves the whole time that people are giving them crazy good advice.
Yeah, I think that's such a very interesting point. The other thing is that network and also the growth. I've also understood that I cannot do it myself, and I told my guys, I'd rather have a piece of a bigger pie than 100% of a very small pie. And the way I told my guys is, I want to build my company sideways like this and not like this, where I just sit at the top the whole time. Anybody that wants to specialize in a different discipline or specialty, I want them to be trained well enough that they can move sideways and then maybe partner up with me in the future. And hey, you know what? We could collaborate. And something that, I've been preaching a lot in the high performance world is collaboration happens at the top, competition happens at the bottom. So collaborating with everybody, it's like, hey, I could train the guys so well they can be specializing in this. The basic labor stuff, the installation, anybody can do it. I want to move the company towards a direction where we're going to be specializing, do the things that nobody else can do. And when I can build a team of people doing that, I don't have to be fighting for the everyday jobs. So that is kind of the direction the mentality I'm training my guys to see why it's important. And we regularly go over the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year goals to see, hey, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? What trainings can we help you with? And build like that. And that's kind of my strategy at the moment. But then again, I'm a very young company. We're only this is my 5th year in business. So I may not be giving the best business advices here, but
Nah, you're giving
it's
the
what's
best
working
business
for me.
advice, man.
No, but you're already further in 5 years than there's a lot of companies out there that are 20, 30, 40 years in that have still not gotten to the where that you're at. So your advice is all valuable. I will tell you that.
I think what it comes to down is just people are stubborn. They're stuck in their own ways. People don't want to change. People don't want to reach out for help. Guys that could reach out for help, interpret the information, and then apply it to it. That's a different type of person. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones who get ahead, and the rest is just be stagnant. When there's something that you need to improve and you address your weakness, that's how you prove as an owner and as a business owner as well. So that's a big thing, because it came to a point of my time, like you said, you've been doing it for 5 years, and I always teach this practice to everybody. You could be doing something for a long time and don't see any results, than someone that's doing it in the right system at the right time and getting a lot further than the person that was doing it for a long time.
Yep.
So I'm big on that. So
Yeah, love it. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of it I discovered it is a lot of mindset. And if you're only thinking about yourself, you're just hindering yourself, really. But you can think to grow as a team, is where I realized we could grow exponentially faster. And I think it's just all the little things that are just adding up to that point, really. Even when I'm at any event, the evenings, as soon as the session's over, I do take the time to go back to my room, take down notes. It's like, oh man, that was a great idea. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna deploy this idea? What am I gonna do about it? So that's kind of where I'm at, and that's the kind of the mentality and what I do at events. And always, every room I walk into, I try to at least connect with at least 3 people. And even after the event, just to shoot them a hi or a little reminder, hey, I met you at so and so training. I'm Anthony from Canada. If ever you need anything, connect. Or do you mind if I ask you any questions? It's how you present yourself. You don't talk to anybody, you're not going to build any network. You're not going to have anything. And you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that are willing to help. Everybody at the top that was my biggest revelation, actually. At the NCI, when I showed up not knowing anything, and I'm asking guys that's been in business for so many years, like,
Yeah.
hey, do you mind sharing me that checklist, your maintenance checklist? Yeah, absolutely. What's your email? I'll send it over right away. When I talk to local guys and try to collaborate with local guys in the same industry, you get the big finger. And it's like,
Yep.
I'm not telling you nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
fine. And that's where I've really figured out that, collaboration really does happen at the top. And I think that's where accelerated growth happens, is when you go hang around the guys at the top. It's makes a
Yep.
huge difference.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what your industry is. It doesn't matter what business, like what position
all-
you're in or
All the
anything.
same thing.
You are who you hang around. And I keep, I've been telling my kids and my brother this for the longest time. Like, if all of your friends are down here and like not doing anything, not having any aspirations, not trying to like drive every single day to what their goals are, you're already like, cutting your feet out from underneath you. Like, if you get friends and you get a network of people that are all like striving to be the best that they can be, they're all striving to do better in the world. Like, you have to do better. Like, all your friends, you know what I mean? Like, you're
Yeah, I think
forced
it's like
just to
I think there's
keep
like
moving.
I think there's no adage where if you don't like your direction, change your company or something like that. And it's true. If I mean, think about it's not a thing I've dealt with, but think about those who have dealt with addiction in their life and overcoming alcoholism or something like that. Usually what they have to do is stop getting around their addicts.
Yep.
Because that's being around in that environment is keeping them in that environment. So if you see people who are going in the direction you want to go in, then follow them.
Yep. No, definitely.
That said, Anthony, I do have a question for you. So, dude, you got me so up. I want to go out and work like another 10 hours from service again because I feel so amped right now. But what I'm wondering is what's coming down the pipeline that scares you? Like, is there any growth around the corner or something that you're wanting to do in order to accomplish a goal that maybe you're a little apprehensive about?
Absolutely. And that actually comes down to it ties back down to moving at breakneck speeds. And I'm recognizing, and I want to stop early. And this is where I've decided this year is where I needed to pump the brakes a little bit to kind of just slow down and really focus on the systems and the SOPs. I've been putting a truck on the road every year since I started. I've been putting an employee out, absorbing an employee every year since I started. And if we grow too fast, that's what scares me, is that we are growing too fast. So I really need to dial it back, slow it down, and really strategize, making sure that, hey, if I'm going to onboard the next guy, that I know exactly what I need to onboard him with, and not just, all right, here's a truck, let's figure out what we need, type deal. And that's honestly, that's how I've been adapting. We've just been growing like that. But when I look at other guys, when they onboard something, they got their care package, a welcome package, this is your set of tools, this is your uniform. I need to get to that point where if I send a guy on a job, all of us are doing things the same way. When it was just me and my business partner, we worked together for 20 years, since I was his helper once upon a time. So we know how we both work, but it doesn't translate to every newcomer joining the team. So I need to start standardizing those processes and procedures, how we like things done. And yeah, that's kind of my biggest struggle right now is understanding. I recognize it and I see it coming, and that's where I want to really slow down and really focus on building my systems and my SOPs.
That's
How do
that.
you? I'm sorry.
No, you good.
I was just going to ask, like, because you know how guys in trades are. You know, we're all cowboys. We're out there doing our own thing, left alone. What kind of objections are you anticipating, and how do you plan on overcoming those?
So one thing I did learn so far is I do not hire from the trades. I do not hire with experience. I hire from outside and build them the way I want them to be built. It's the truth. Those are the guys that work the best. You know, all my guys, my business partner, we work together, so that doesn't really count. My lead tech, he's a musician. My admin was a nanny. My social guy was a tattoo artist. My my lead installer was a landscaper. My apprentice, she was a precious metal trader. And our newest helper, he's 18, he's just coming off high school. So he's just want to get in trade, so he doesn't have any experience yet. So yeah, and when I built a culture that promotes growth, it's what was attracted them. It's not even about how much money you can make. It's about what you can learn and where you can be. The trades is what you put in is what you get out of it. Your 9 to 5 pays your bills. Your 5 to 9 is what builds your dreams. I give them all the resources to do what they got to do from 5 to 9. I can only give them so many hours, the 40 hours in a week. There's only so much you can learn. What you do beyond that 40 hours is what's going to determine what you're going to do. One of my apprentices once told me, he's like, hey, you know what? One day I'm going to be better than you. I'm going to learn more than you. I'm like, I welcome it. I've been doing this for 20 years and I
That'd be
still
such
have
an
not
honor.
stopped learning. So that's kind of the mindset that I go into with this. If I don't see that they have the ambition to learn or to better themselves, they're not a fit for the team. I've been fortunate so far. I have not had any pushback. But when we do go for training, it's all expenses paid. We take them out. We pay for the flights, the stays, all their meals, the training, the certification, and we have one full day that we always plan that. Tell me what you want to see in the city. We'll go make it a trip. It's a little reward. We all pass. We celebrate our wins. And I think that's what's important is everybody wins together. It's not just me winning as a company owner. That's where we've reinvested a lot of our money back into training. I put in more money in training than I did anywhere else in the business.
Brian says, Brian Heat in the air. He says, so how do you run your company and everyone is green? I think that was one of his questions.
Well, not everybody was green when we started. When I
Yeah.
started, it was me and my business partner. We have 40 years combined experience already. So we divided by two. We each took one helper. Then now those helpers are in better position to train another guy.
Yeah.
I was also fortunate that two of our current employees have jumped ship from our previous employers. They came with us, guys that I trained from outside of the industry at my previous employers that decided that they want to work with us. So that is how we did. Right now, I got 2 guys that are green on a crew out of 6.
I think green guys are, like you say, are the best guys. Like I had a guy who never did HVAC. He works for me now. He found me on TikTok. DM me. I told him, hey, you need to go to school, get your EPA, and I'll take you serious. He hit me up 2 months later, said, hey, I got my EPA. So I was like, okay, he's serious. Put him to work. Like you were saying, getting things into place. Like when you hire someone, you want to have, like, what I'm saying, the uniforms already in place, the tools and stuff like that. Maybe some stuff that they need to know as far as the paperwork, like a blueprint for your company, as far as things you expect from them, or certain process if they're on the maintenance, what they need to do, XYZ, like a real playbook, like you in the NFL or NBA or something like that. Because we are professionals at the end of the day. I think every company should have like a kind of like a playbook. as far as things you expect, rules, certain things. Because we are in the technology era. So it's like you could get wireless tools, do your Delta T. Hey, you need to upload on every call your whole transcript for the unit, and it's like if you do that, they can't bullshit you because you got to show proof on each call by showing, hey, let me see your Delta T. Hey, what was your static pressure on there? You know what I'm saying? We got instruments now that could do it like within a few minutes that could give you those type of readings. So yeah, you definitely need to get that sequence of operation in the playbook for the team because that's what I'm going to do as well because I already been in the field and I pretty much got it down packed how to do a maintenance, how to do a service install, how to talk to a client, get 5-star reviews. So now they're just passing it along to the next man and then the next man to represent your business because it all starts at the lead command, which is you. So yeah,
100%. And
yeah.
that's the way I'm trying to build that business, to build it right.
I think a lot of guys, I think every guy get this same thing. Once they get to that path, they say it's hard. Your hardest part is getting to the million. And then once you start to grow, most guys fear growing too fast. So definitely slow it down because you don't want to grow too fast. Everybody that I know that grow too fast, they get a headache and they start to lay off guys. You don't want to do that. So you want to, you know what I'm saying, pump your brakes a little bit, start to look at the numbers a little bit more and just evaluate it instead of just, you know what I'm saying, throwing someone in the van. And then once, because even though we do good, all of us do good business, all of us, you know what I'm saying, we do jobs. Every now and then we get little hiccups in our business, maybe be slow, someone get injured on a job, sometimes the workers get burnt out once you're doing so many jobs. 'Cause once you do a million or more, you're doing a lot of jobs regardless. So you try to find ways to keep them energized and keep them going. I remember interview that I was doing with another guy. He said sometimes they have the installers say if they did a few installs for the week, they'll have a day to where they come in to work after 2 o'clock to let them rest in the morning instead of them coming every day at 7, 8 a.m. in the morning knocking out installs because usually they'll get burnt out once they keep doing those type of installs every day of the week.
100%.
Yeah. Brian says, what about senior techs? I don't know about senior techs.
Yeah, I'm not
What
sure
was
what
that?
the question is there.
I think he was following up the question because he said, "How do you run your company with when it's everybody's green?" And Anthony answered it, and then he backed the question up, "What
What
about
about
senior
senior
tech?"
tech?
Because he said he liked them green. So
I mean, I want to touch on the green thing real quick because, like, when I was hiring people, I could not find a qualified tech that was any good at all. They'd already all learned their ways. They were already like, no f you, I'm not flowing nitrogen while I braze, et cetera, et cetera. They already like claimed
yeah,
that they knew more than me, and it was so much easier to hire in a green guy that had like the desire. Matter of fact, I want to plug my son real quick because we hired my son. He was 16 years old. He didn't want anything to do with any of it in the first year. Don't get me wrong, but I gotta say he's like 5 years into the trade right now, and he is now the lead service tech over there. And he came in not knowing a stinking thing. But I want to give him props because just the other day he messaged me and he said, "This is the year that I become better than you." And I said, 100%, let's do this. Let me know what I need to do to make sure that happens. And that makes me proud as hell that he's not going to pass me this year, but that makes me proud as hell that he thinks he's going to. And I really
solid,
am here for him. Don't get me wrong,
solid.
like, you know as well as I do, the more you learn about HVAC, the more you realize that you don't know anything about HVAC. Like,
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter how far
Yes.
up you go.
yeah.
Anyway, he's still got a couple of tears before he realizes how much he doesn't know yet. But he is the
Mhm.
lead service tech, and he's absolutely crushing it. So, Michael, I want to give you a props. Not that Michael, but
Big
my
Mike,
Thank, thanks, Dad.
yeah. But What is
Yeah,
your advice for
100%. And
someone who started off as an installer but is currently a maintenance/service tech? And that's from Lovins. Who wants to fire that one off?
what was that?
What do you mean
So-
advice? I'd say he's in the best place he could be in, man. I mean, really, when you
I'm
think about it,
assuming maybe he's fresh to the service tech stuff and he's just got the install mind still. Maybe,
yeah, maybe.
that's what the question is geared towards.
But here's the big thing in commercial kitchen, and we deal with a lot of ice machines, walk-in coolers, rooftop PMs, and the thing that's really been driving home into my head is just to love PMs. And I know that seems counterintuitive because we all want to get past being that PM tech, and we get bored with it. We're like, well, I want to diagnose and troubleshoot. I want to get into the glorious stuff. But to be perfectly honest, like when you're doing the PMs, like that is that makes your job easier. So when you're passionate about making sure that machine is running the way it's supposed to be running, like later on down the road when a bearing fails or a compressor legit just breathes its last breath, then your life is just easier, like I said. So I would say use the time that you're a PM tech to learn what every part does, learn that that spaghetti of wires, each one of those wires goes and just has a function. Take pictures of the wiring diagrams, take pictures of the data tags. Chat GTP is really cool because if you upload a picture of the data tag, it can find you like service manuals, troubleshooting guides, sequence of operations. Find that stuff and study it at home because, man, like Anthony was saying, I mean, in your 8 to 5, your 8 p.m. to 5 a.m., I mean, that's your prime time to learn and grow. So I would say, the best advice if you're going from install into being a PM tech on the service side is embrace it, love it, and learn as much as you can because, well, like Mark just said, every day once you start doing more service, you're going to realize that you're dumber and dumber. Like today, I've realized that I am stupider than I was yesterday. And it just, every dang day, I get dumber because I keep learning that there's more that I don't know.
Yep. There's a lot out there. It's insane how in-depth the HVAC field is, not gonna lie.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think it's also the mindset of don't look at PM as just preventive maintenance.
Definitely mindset.
Definitely take the time to learn what you're doing and not just change that filter, not just clean that drain. Why are you doing what you're doing? What, like Mike said, what is each component doing? And the more PMs you do, the more machines you touch, you're gonna realize you're gonna start recognizing patterns. And the next time is like you're doing a PM, it's like, hey, it wasn't doing this time. What caused this to happen? And the more you take your job seriously and not just take it as a job, do it with passion and intention, that is where the magic is gonna happen. That is where growth is gonna happen.
100%.
You know what's cool about that too, Anthony? Like, okay, the first year you do a PM on a machine, then you come back, well, maybe 6 months, quarterly, however often, come back to the same machine a little bit later. You do the machine, come back to it maybe a third time, and now you notice something's off. Maybe the fan pulley is squeaking a little bit, or a fan shaft is vibrating, or you notice just something off. Maybe the contactor is looking a little smoky, like it's been overheating. So you could be the one who identifies the problem. Like, hey, 6 months ago I was here and that was not like that. So you can be the one who is the hero and says, hey, customer, I noticed something has changed in your system. Let's get that addressed now before it actually becomes a breakdown and a failure and a problem.
Yeah, 100%. I think PM is probably the less stressful way of learning. You're not there on an emergency. You're not there because somebody's losing clients because of the heat. No one's losing inventory. You're doing there at your own pace. So take your time to learn. PM is a great way to start learning. I did not take advantage of it when I was younger. I didn't have the mentors. I just went up there, pulled filters, slapping new filters. How fast can I do this job? I wasn't taking the statics. I wasn't taking the airflow. I wasn't doing the full inspection at the time because I just wasn't taught to. But now it's like, even just taking the delta of enthalpy, getting the airflow, I can already tell you a lot about how the machine is doing. So things like that, it's the new mindset is just, doing things with intention. And that passion for this job.
Mhm.
And not to be biased, but I think HVAC is probably like the king of all trades. We need to literally learn every trade
Yep.
to be doing what we do, and that's what makes our job so fun. I can go from residential to light commercial, commercial to industrial to crazy industrial. I could go from air conditioning to chillers to ice machines to refrigerators. Like, this trade is just endless, and you get bored of one thing, pivot.
I
Dude, I
think
had
that
a
would.
buddy that just installed thermostats for a company. Literally, that's all he did was drive town to town, install thermostats for like OG&E, which is our electric company around here. Like, anyway, there's everything. Like, you can do the
100%.
simple stuff to the
I
hard stuff.
I think what Anthony is saying, because a guy just questioned Shaft. He said, "I do a lot of commercial work. Is residential work better? I want to learn it all."
That depends on you. I personally, I was in commercial for a couple years back in my previous employers, but I did not find any joy in the commercial work. I love the residential work because I get to talk to people, I get to meet people, I get to see their places. My environment changes all the time. When you start getting regular clients at commercial PMs, it's the same old. You're climbing the same ladder, you're looking at the same machine. It gets repetitive. It's a personality thing. I love to talk to people. I love to get to know the people I work with. I love to get to know the homeowners. I like to see different things, and I work within a 30-kilometer radius of my office, so I don't need to go very far. And being in residential, I don't have any, hey, come right now, we're dying. I'm gonna lose $10 million of inventory. That does not really exist in residential. It's like, hey, you could throw in your aux heat, you get till tomorrow morning. I'll be there to check your heat pump tomorrow. Hey, you got no cooling? Open a few windows for now. I'll be there in the morning.
I guess it's really much a preference. Like he say, he loves to talk to client. He loves to communicate with people. Some guys don't like to talk to clients. Some guys rather just be out by themselves, because usually
Yep.
commercial, you just do the dispatching and they got GPSs on the truck, and you most of the day you by yourself or maybe with a partner doing PMs or a service call. So it's really just a preference, but definitely. If you could learn commercial, you definitely could know residential, because there are a lot of guys who do residential but don't really know how to do commercial. But most of the guys that do commercial can do residential with a piece cake. So just what your preference is. If you want to learn it all, find a company that do both. One day you do residential, or 2 days you do residential, and the next day you might be on the rooftop. So there are a lot of hybrid guys out here. It's quite a few hybrid guys.
I will say commercial will kick your butt if you're not keeping in shape and hydrating, and if you're one of these who likes to eat lunch out of a drive-through window, which I'm guilty of way too much. But I mean, think about it: carrying those ladders up, or carrying the ladder up, carrying tanks and tool bags and stuff up ladders, and then my favorite maneuver is get up to the ladder after carrying everything up on my shoulders, and then I've got more stuff on the ground attached to ropes, and now I'm pulling up ropes up the ladder. I'm just like, crap, man. No wonder I don't have energy to go to the gym. Like I'm at the gym now, but like Willie said, you can always do some residential work. I'm going to help a neighbor swap out their residential HVAC system 2 houses down from me. So if commercial, you can that opens up the opportunity to maybe do some little side jobs and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, try it. If you've only done commercial and you're curious about residential, try it. If you've only done residential and you're curious about commercial, try it. That's the beauty of this trade. There's so many different things you can get into, and just try it all.
Brian says, my son is in high school, 11th grade. He wants to go to a 4-year college, and he said he wants to do HVAC. What should he major in at a big 4-year college?
Mechanical
Business.
engineering.
No.
No?
You learn HVAC in the field. You don't learn it in school, personally. I
Okay.
wouldn't spend 4 years
Well,
learning HVAC.
you're right. Mechanical
I
engineering doesn't
wouldn't
really
field,
cover HVAC.
but he needs to learn business. Most guys, if you're wanting to start up an HVAC business, or if you want to get into HVAC, typically the hope is someday to branch off on your own to start your own HVAC business. The business side of things is entirely different. And like I said, most of the HVAC stuff I believe you should learn on the job because I've never found a good guy out of even Votech or anything. They don't know anything about heat and air still after 2 years of school. So if you spend 4 years of school trying to learn HVAC and then you get in the field, you still don't know anything. Like, what did you learn? You know what I mean? Yeah, you might know your pressures. You might know like some of the mathematics. You might know some of the equations for the engineering crap and whatnot. But like physically, like the actual HVAC stuff, I'd say spend your time either on business for the after you learn HVAC, or I'd go something like completely sideways. But I wouldn't recommend doing a 4-year college for HVAC future.
I would recommend doing 4-year college at all. Just telling him to go
Right.
go to HVAC, go into HVAC. Just go.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, I think getting your foot into a company store, if you could find a company or someone that's willing to mentor and train you, that is going to be worth its weight in gold.
We have a 19-year-old who is he just graduated this past May, so he graduated about a year ago, and he's the son of our lead tech, and he spent the last 4 years, his entire high school career, coming in after school, and I mean, he'd be doing, sweeping up the shop, parts running, doing, in a restaurant over the kitchen, the hoods, they have these like removable filters. They're like stainless steel. Well, one service we offer is we'll bring fresh filters and then we'll take your old filters and wash them. He was the guy, still is the guy washing those, and it's pretty gross, honestly. But he does it, and 19 years old, I got to say, man, that kid will work circles around just about everybody. So if this guy's son is 18, I'd say walk into a dang HVAC shop and just ask, hey, I want to learn this trade. Can I sweep the floor? Can I take out the trash? What can I do to help out? And and be willing to accept that maybe some of that work is unpaid. I mean, it should be paid, but maybe you're just showing up and it's more about mentoring and kind of hanging on the words of the senior guys.
I mean, it's that time of year right now. I feel like you could walk into an HVAC shop and you should be able to get a job. If you can't get a job today, you should be able to get a job next month, because a lot of people are trying to hire some people.
Absolutely.
And then just share this podcast, this live podcast where Anthony says that he hires only green techs. We share that with them. Be like, see, Anthony Wu up in Canada is absolutely crushing it. NCI Contractor of the Year says that you should hire me, the green guy. And
that's
then
right.
Your foot's in the door. You're there.
Green guys.
Anthony is the authority.
Green guys come out a little bit better, especially if the lead command guy has a good communication skills that could delay. Because like, it's not that hard. We it's too much technology. Someone could be on the call right now. Stomp. Okay, FaceTime me. Let me see what you're looking at. Okay, send me a video of what you got on your meter. Send me the screenshot of whatever app you're using for your wireless. You know what I'm saying? Having the right tools and the right system. It's not like the old days where you would have an old for yeah, all right. Call me when you're done, or he like, oh, you don't know this. Give you a hard time, because we grew up in the era was like, damn, we got pressed about everything, and it's like you was scared to ask that person because he was either, oh, he gonna talk shit about me, or I might lose my job, or just some crazy shit that was going on. So we like now it's like the guys like me and the rest of us, we don't mind teaching people. Like how Anthony said when he was trying to do his business, he was scared to ask those guys that was in that top command for certain things, and when they gave it to him, he was like, shit, well, I need to ask some more, and let me put, like, that's all I did with this page, man. I got introduced to like a lot of people when I had my Facebook. I was like, damn, he making that much money. I'm doing HVAC. I need to find out what he's doing. Let me find out what he's doing, and then take a little of what he's doing and apply it to my life. Weed out the stuff that like, oh damn, I made a mistake. Because anything in business, we know if we make a mistake, the first thing it affect is your pockets. You know,
Yeah.
so that's a lesson learned. I remember when I did a system. I think I had a helper with me. His cousin owned a company, and he wasn't really like a HVAC guy. He was just like someone like, hey, I'll pay you a few $100 to come help me with this job type person. And it was one of my first big jobs, and we did the unit, fired up, it wouldn't work. It was freezing up. This one I was green. I put in a whole new return, put in a whole new line set, still freezing up. Whole time, I don't even know how he did it. When he put the blower motor in, he put it in the wrong way. So when the air was blowing, it was blowing inside the cabinet, facing the cabinet. It went blow. It was on the wrong side where the hole was at. It was just smack dead. But if I would have
Yeah.
knew what I knew now, I would have airflow,
Right.
airflow. So yeah, man, yeah, definitely, yes.
Yeah, just to put in back to that question a little bit, I think it's all about finding the right employer, getting to know who your employer is. Are they in it for the money? Are they in it to build? You know, what kind of contractor are they? It's, you know, pick who you want to step in the doors with. If,
Yep.
you know, it doesn't hurt to try, get in, see what the culture's like. Do they train their guys? Do they bring their guys? They want to better you. And you want to find an employer that wants to feed that hunger. And I think that is what is so hard for a lot of owners to be able to provide that fuel for the guys that are hungry. You're going to run into your rock stars, which are the guys that are very good at what they do. They don't need any more. They don't need to grow. They want to be where they are. Then you're going to run into superstars where they're just constantly hungry for more. And we're fortunate we're in an industry where it's unlimited where they want to go. Is like, hey, you want to be better? This is what you can do. Hey, you want to learn something even better? This is what you can do. There is no ceiling in HVAC. With the
Yep.
evolution of technology, the different you want different challenge, step sideways and go into another part of the trades. You know, there's always going to be a challenge. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm bored residential. All right, you know what? Let's start a commercial division. I could start taking on those rooftop contracts. You want to try that? Let's do it. You know, empower those guys and gals to do these things and not be stuck in your own way. If you see someone that's interested in doing something else, like I don't do gas because I'm not licensed for it, but I don't have the time to go get my licensing and all that stuff for gas. But my new guy was like, hey, he wants to get in heating and plumbing. I'm like, great. You know, let me know. Come work with us for a bit. And if you want to go to school, I'll pay for you to go to school. And while you're working through school, then come back. We'll have some kind of contract set up that, hey, be with us for X amount of time, you know, run through your apprenticeship or whatever, and then we do something else. But give them the option to encourage them to grow. And I think that's what's going to fuel the next generation. But if you just look at them as a paycheck and a cash cow, it's not going to last very long. Especially nowadays, everybody's going to recognize that sooner than later. Everybody talks about how much money they're making, what they're doing. And one of the things I saw was there was a guy I worked for at my previous company that, you know, went for, I think like $3 an hour more to another company. You know, we went caught up a few years later. He's still making the same amount of money while, you know, the guys at our company were making more because we developed and had better skills. All he did was unroll pipes on a construction site for 3 years. You know, so that is where it makes a difference. And it's up to the individual as owner and individual, the worker themselves, how they communicate. As an employee, you need to communicate to your leaders. If, hey, I want to grow. And also as a leader, you have to recognize your employees and your team members of what they want and how can you provide that growth. If you want to grow a company, you need to grow your team. You know, if you're not investing in your team, you cannot grow your company. And if you just keep the guys in that number mindset that they're replaceable, then hey, of course they're going to walk because they know they're replaceable. But if you treat them with value, it's where I want to make my guys valuable, and they know, train them so well that they can leave, but treat them so well they don't want to leave. It's kind of that mentality that I've been going with. So far, it's working. You know, guys with more experience can tell me otherwise that hey, that stuff doesn't work. But I'll see. I'm willing to learn.
It's always good to be on the positive side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you know, or maybe like, have you ever encountered a situation where, I don't know, one of your employees was like, I don't know, maybe they're getting too comfortable. They're getting a little bit too like, man, you need to challenge yourself more. Like they're getting too in the routine. You know what I'm talking about? Like, is there?
Yeah. So I don't think I've hit that phase of my business where I have not enough positions to grow in. Like there's positions where, I do need that lead helper that he's good at the installs, but he just wants to be helper. He doesn't want any responsibilities.
Hmm.
And that is fine. It's up to the individual. And I'm not going to push him anymore because that's what he wants. But if I see signs where they're getting bored and they want a challenge, then every month we have our monthly reviews and hey, how's everything going? Have your goals changed since we first talked last month? What are your struggles? What do you need help with? Type thing. So it's just constantly staying communicated with your team members. We have our monthly meeting, and then after our monthly meetings, I let them know. It's like, hey, anybody wants to sit afterwards? Let me know. We talk about if there's a different direction they want to take, and I want to build that trust that they can come to me with anything. Hey, you want to make X amount of money? Well, this is how you're going to make X amount of money. These are the things you need to learn. How fast you want to get there is up to you. So that is kind of what I've been doing. I mean, we're a small company. We're 6 guys in the field. So
See,
all the guys.
that's the thing of my bad for most guys, small companies, they it's a lot of guys getting in the field. They're not going to the guys that's like me or you or someone who really cares because there are more companies that's like just number driven. So I
Mm,
get a lot of guys who go from company to company, and they all say the same thing. That's why I tell them just go commercial because most commercial they'll let you uh, use your troubleshooting skills because most commercial they don't replace a lot of volume work. They're not going to be paying $100,000 for a new system every time you go to a unit. You're gonna have to use your real skills and figure it out. I guess just the way the industry is now for residential, it's just a number game. And right now, I would say it's the best time it's ever gonna be for guys like you and me, small guys, to come in and we could quote our jobs high as everyone else and still land it while being small. So but we can still have other characteristics in our business that the other company don't have. Hey, like you said, when a guy need training, you pay for the flights, you pay for the food, you pay for the time, and if it's something that you want to go in town to see, we could do it together. A big company is not even going to do that. If anything, they might pay for the training and say, hey, you got to pay for the flight and all your travel expenses just to get there. So I think that's what the complaint is about because, of course, you're a small company. I'm a small company. We care more because this is our baby. Now you got people who never did HVAC, maybe a millionaire or just come from a family of wealth and want to invest into a business. They don't care for that. They just use
mhm.
people as numbers, and it's just a number database type of thing. So
Yeah,
I guess that's
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's honestly that's how we positioned ourselves is to be able to do those work and have those conversation with homeowners. And really, my job is to educate the homeowners. When I go give a quote, it's not just about the numbers; it's about educating the homeowners. Why are we different? Why am I using the True Flow grid? Why am I taking your static pressure now? My goal is to make sure they know how to ask the right question to the next contractor, and that is where I found a lot of my success. Is when they call me back and it's like, oh yeah, that guy did not know what he's talking about. He did not say,
Yeah.
he did not mention that at all. He just said to put the machine here, horizontal run. Hey, did he talk about what happens to your drain line when you have such a horizontal run without, sloping or anything like that? What happens when you run condensate through the attic? What are the risks involved? Did they tell you that you have to have maintenance? You have to go up there. And then there's going to be times that, hey, it's too hot in the attic. Or are they going to come out and service you? What those are questions I want to make sure the homeowner know how to ask before making such a big investment. And most of the time now I've positioned myself in a place where people call me back. I don't chase for quotes. I have zero marketing dollars. We're just
Mhm.
word of mouth and we're still growing. And I'm pumping the brakes. Like I'm giving away leads, hot leads, to local contractors I've worked with that I trust, and other small guys, and that's how we grow together.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that's how you know you're doing your business right too, because like you shouldn't be servicing everybody that wants your service,
yeah.
and because then you're out there, you're like begging for them. But if you get your business in a healthy position, it's just like Anthony said. You should be like, I mean, I've got a gut buddy over here that can also help you, so you can go that direction. You know what I mean? That's how you run a healthy business: is you're picking and choosing your customers. You're not like, oh, well, if somebody called, we have to go get that one today, kind of thing. Which we all have to be in that position too. Don't get me wrong. In order to get to where Anthony's at, you got to go through that eating shit part.
Yeah.
But,
Oh God, yes.
But yeah.
Definitely got to weed out. I learned that a long time ago. All money is not good money, man. You don't have to chase all the dollars. You just need to make that. That's where I'm at now. Is making every time I leave the house, I just want to make that job worth the while. So I just I give every call, all of me. I'm checking everything. It may take me a little bit of time, but at least I did that. My sequence of trying to do the best ability for the client that calls me. Of course, you got now. I'm at the point where I like it used to make me mad. I used to make Facebook posters about people saying they can't afford me. Going crazy. All this. Now it's just like I'm at the point where like, hey, this is the amount. Okay, if you don't like it, I appreciate you calling me. Just call me back if you change your mind. And it's no hard feelings. That's just how business goes. Especially when you're trying to level up, you want to get this certain amount of money. You want to have these trucks. You want to have employees. You got to stand firm on your numbers and go where you're appreciated at. Because you got some clients, like I say, you got to know your client base. You got to know what type of clients you want to deal with when you want to get to. Because you got a dealership you got a used car dealership, cars for 2,000 to 5,000. Then you got the Honda dealership, cars from 5 to 10,000. Now you got your Ferrari. People do shop Ferrari. Now you got the 20, 100,000 type of clients. So you gotta know what type of clients you're dealing with now. And I never knew that until I like really got serious and started like looking at the client. Like I like, okay, I understand. She's not gonna bite on that because that's not what she wants. She want the simple thing. She just want the basic. Then you got some people who care about airflow, who care about media filters, who care about indoor air products and stuff like that. So yeah, you got to know your
Yeah, I
clientele.
think it's a hurdle. It's a fear of as a business owner, you're afraid of losing out. That fear of
Yeah.
missing out, it's a real deal.
Mhm.
I think it's getting into that mindset and that confidence of doing what you do, and that's where NCAA really enabled me to share the data that other people cannot share, or they don't have the tools to do it. And that's really what accelerated my growth is being able to do things outside of the norm.
Hmm.
And that's where I realized, we I put myself in a position where I could choose and might choose my clients. And what I've realized is, back in year one, year two of business, where I lost bids, I was a little sour about it. But hey, it is what it is. We still survive. Now, fast forward to year 4, 5. These same clients are calling me back, telling me, "It's like, hey, I'm not getting the service. They've been here 6 times. They can't figure it out." Well, you're
Yeah,
just gonna
airflow
wait in line
still
like
sucks.
wait in line like everybody else. I mean, that's what it is. I'll go do the service, but it's not under my warranty or anything. I charge full
Yep.
freight for whatever I need to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should have done it
Warranty
right
part
the
I'll
first
charge
time.
to go get fill up the warranty forms. Even machines that are under warranty that I didn't install, I charge for that because I have to send a guy out to the distributor, pick up the part, spend the time, fill out their forms,
Yeah.
pay for the part, go back, install, and then return the part. So it's all time. So it's like if it's my job, I don't care. I'll absorb the cost. You
Yeah.
know what? It's our warranty. We'll take care of it. But if I'm dealing with someone else's, even if it's under manufacturer's warranty, I'm
Yeah.
charging for my time to get the part, to come back, fill the paperwork. So,
You should. The
that's
manufacturer's not paying your labor rate and stuff. Like you
100%.
can't go
I,
negative for a
I don't know
customer
why it's
to
like that.
somebody
Guys
else.
be installing so many units, but they never come back to the damn unit. They don't never.
They like that big payday up front, man.
I done seen a whole like where they do the whole neighborhood, and it could be the neighborhood brand new. Soon as the people move in, it might be an issue, a manufacturer issue. They call, man. They always give them the run. They always give them the run around,
Oh,
or they
sorry,
say,
we ran
oh,
out of business.
or they'll hit them with the I don't think this cover under the warranty. Let me speak to the manager. They never get back to him. So like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of that out there, man. So
But no, you still got to make your money. Like just because other people suck at
oh
their
yeah,
business doesn't mean that you can't.
it's
You should like go under on yourself. Like
it's
you obviously.
it's either those people or the ones who got a new system but they never maintenance it, and now they want to call for warranty. The first thing I
Those
always
I'm a
tell,
little more like, okay, it's been 4 years.
yeah,
Pay for a maintenance today, we'll still warranty it. But like
but
those people that literally like chose somebody else over your bid, like,
yeah,
bro, like, I mean,
oh
I don't know
definitely
what you
charge.
expected.
Yeah,
I don't work for free. We got DNA said Reddit clients are the best. Anybody have any?
Yeah, so I actually know
Anything about
Derek.
that? I don't know anything. Okay.
Yeah, I spoke to Derek about that. Actually, Derek's one of the guys I've mentored through NCI. I met him after I won the award.
Oh, cool.
Great guy, great company. He's into the high performance thing, and he's starting his journey. He mentioned
Sweet.
that was very new to me. He gets a lot of his clients from Reddit. I have no experience in Reddit, so I don't know about you guys.
I read the Reddit sometimes. It's Reddit. It's like what would I say? Like
It's almost like Facebook, but anonymous. Like you don't really
yeah,
have.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like they know what's going on and they trying to really figure it out, and they really want to answer to whatever the question they want. Just like anonymous professional site to where people want to get answers, or
Right.
they say, or
But there are
sometimes
some good communities like troubleshooting help for homeowners and stuff like that.
I do recommend businesses be on Reddit. Reddit is one of the major sources as far as AI is concerned, and Google as well. So as
All
far
right,
as
I
your
need to get on
SEO stuff and all that stuff, I do recommend Reddit. That being said, I don't F with Reddit at all myself. I jumped on there and dropped like a YouTube video once and got lit up by a whole bunch of HVAC guys that were like, why the hell are you dropping a YouTube video? But like I don't Reddit myself much, but it is really good because like I said, if you run a search for like local businesses or something, so like if you run an HVAC service near me or something like that, you'll end up with some Reddit threads and stuff that pop up in there. And so AI uses it, and so does Google. But are you guys on a performance pay rate for your techs, and what's your thoughts on it? I've noticed more and more companies going this direction. That's the ones.
So commission.
Yeah. So how do you guys work your pay scale over there? Do you guys run commissions? How do you do that, Anthony?
We do not. We're just straight hourly pay. That's it. The guys are happy where they are. They're getting paid well, so they're. But I'm gonna cross that bridge when it comes. I'm expecting it, but currently at where we are sitting right now, I'm not at the point where we need it. Or I do all my sales, so that could change. That could be different. We're not doing much upselling on the PMs or whatever. The bulk of our income is from installations. And I make all those sales. So I'm not at a point when, I need to hand off that torch. Then I would think that it would come with the commissioning, but I haven't crossed that bridge yet.
I think we had that discussion on the last interview with Jason when he was saying performance based, and regardless if you're a performance based or hourly tech, you still need to do your work. You still need to do your troubleshooting. You still got to do your work. You got some guys that out here who can lie and manipulate a client, and you got some people who really know, like how Anthony say, you do all your delta T, you do your airflow, you present it to the client, and you can make good money by being honest as well. Don't get into all the hype of people who getting paid by performance. If you're doing your work that you're supposed to, if you go into a service call, you're looking at the duct work, you see the return is too small or the airflow is not correct on it, you can offer these things to the client by simply just doing your job. Instead of going into a house looking for a sale or trying to be a salesman to get more money on your check, just simply do your work, because a lot of guys don't do their work. Like we all been through that. Some days we don't feel like doing all the work. During the days I might skip a step And usually when you skip a step, it usually bites you in your ass. When you
Every single
that
time.
one day you don't want to hook your gauges up to it. Now it ain't cooling right. So
Yeah,
you
the
know,
suction
just
line spear can't go fine.
whole time it done froze up. Or you don't want to go inside to look at the backside of a coil. You don't want to take something apart to look at it. You know, skip that step. Now there's a dog hair all in the return. You know what I'm saying? Just if you do these
Yep.
steps every call, I know it. I know nobody wants to do it. It's a headache. It takes too long. Take those steps, and you can make some real money by just being honest and being over the top on each call you go to. So I wouldn't really get into the hourly or performance base because regardless, if you want to be a good tech, just be thorough on each call you go to, and it sell
Yeah.
for itself. Usually, it sell for itself. I'm more of the organic guy. I send you pictures and
All right.
videos, and I might make the client laugh before I say. Usually, when I come into the house, I tell the client, "Do you want to hear good news? Or you want to hear bad news?" And they always put a smile on their face, and they say, "Well, I just want to hear the news. Can you tell me?" And I just break it down to them, and it sells for itself, man.
Yeah.
Cause you got a lot of guys who don't know how to talk that lingo with clients. They sound like robots. And when they call another company, I always ask like, so what did they explain to you? And the client says, I don't know. They always say, I don't know. He said something about the majiggy thing. I said,
Yep.
did he send the pictures and videos? No. So like, just do your job. A lot of
Yeah.
people are not doing their jobs, man. That's why we
Yeah.
So I
got a lot
think
of people. Go ahead.
what I would like to add is
Oh,
building that culture for
yeah.
within your company, that your guys are working within the culture of performance, and that is where I found it important to be in data driven ethics. Everything is data driven, so we could see the airflow, I could see the static
Yeah.
pressures, I can see the delta and enthalpies, I can see everything through the measure quick apps. And this way I can present cleanly. It's like, hey, look, this is where you're out of target, this is what we can do. And we build a scope of work, and usually that is where we tier out our scope of work. Hey, these are the lowest hanging fruits, these are the quickest ones we can access at the minimum cost for the best bang for the buck. And then depending on where we're at, it's like, all right, next year you want to get a bit more improvement, we'll come back to another test, see where we stand. And I also find that having that data, it really empowers your guys to be able to present that data to the homeowners with no BS.
Yeah.
It's and that's what I love about being more data driven in our diagnostics is the fact that the machine already inherently is telling the truth. It's up to the tech to interpret the truth that is being told, but the numbers that are representing that truth, they're just the numbers. And when you're giving humidity, pressure, temperature, uh, values, refrigerant pressures, pipeline temperatures. I mean, it's telling a story, and all you're really needing to do then is to interpret what do those numbers mean to the customer, and the customer can even get a printout of your numbers and show another tech, a competitor, and say, hey, look, here's what they said. Okay, well, that's what the numbers are. Nobody's BSing you. That's what your system's doing.
One cool thing is in my market, at least, we're one of the very few, if not the only, high performance contractors. Even with those numbers, lots of companies don't understand what to do with those numbers. That is what really sets us apart. Is like, hey, we're having like these weird distribution issues, but if they don't know the numbers, you don't know what to tune.
Well, I think that's another good question when it comes to managing your staff. I mean, it sounds like most of your guys are pretty young anyway, maybe. But I know that, well, even young guys can be kind of technology resistant. Like, do you have anybody like that, and how do you overcome that? Because I mean, that's a huge problem. A lot of people want to be able to swing a wrench, but they don't really necessarily understand or feel comfortable with technology.
It's part of our training, it's part of the growth. It's when we go training, there's like, these are the tool, it's a tool. Technology is a tool. You gotta learn the tools.
Yeah.
Our company's all about growth and adapting. We want to be on the cutting edge. So they know every time I come back from a training or I come back from a trade show, we're rolling out something new. And it's just become part of the culture. So, they expect it. I haven't faced any resistance because they just know that if I'm deploying it's because it's for the greater good. It's happening. Whether they want to fight it or not, it's just going to make it harder for them. So I've been very fortunate. My team has been very open to it. Even my business partner, who's asking, is like, "Hey, I need another 10K to invest into these tools. All right, what are we doing? This, and this. All right, let's get it done." you know, um, it's like, hey, we need new tablets. I need to be able to use Ampli or use,
I just
you
heard
know,
Anthony's giving away $10,000 for tools. Everybody, Anthony.
Somebody say $10,000 for tools.
you're
I'm
gonna
here.
you're gonna sell me $10,000 worth of tools. I can make me $10,000.
Yeah.
10,000 tools gonna make them 100,000. Gotta make
Yeah,
that
no, they
money
should definitely
back.
be making
Yeah,
more
100%.
than 10,000.
I'm
But
all for
that's
that. If it's gonna make money back, I spend it like water.
Yep.
Especially when I brought my wireless. When I start putting it on, start renting to learn. I'm like, oh, so
Yeah.
this was about. Okay, so now I'm just making sales left and right by just hooking it up, doing what I was doing instead of just because a lot of guys want to stay analog. I mean, you need to really switch it up, and it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Especially if you
Yeah,
present it
and
the
I think
right way to the client.
presenting the why to your guys. Why are we doing it this way? Why are we using this thing right here instead of analog gauges? The accuracy, what it's telling, the speed. Yes, you should learn how to do it the old school way. In the event that these tools do fail, yeah, we do have analog gauges in the truck.
Yeah.
Yes, learn how to use them, but not on the daily. It's like
Mhm.
for me to be able to see all my Delta T superheat subcooling right on the app versus the guy with the analog gauge, pen and paper, climbing temperature. As things are shifting, they're not getting the right numbers or current numbers. So it's about speed and
Absolutely.
accuracy. That is what it comes down to, and the guys are understanding it. At least on our
Well,
team, the guys are
I
understanding
mean,
it. So
at least from my branch of the HVAC family tree. I mean, imagine being working on a walk-in cooler. You're metering in the charge, right? You got your digital clamp on your suction line inside the box. You got a temp probe inside the box taking box temperature, and then you are on the roof monitoring your suction line, liquid line temps along while you're also adding charge as the system's cycling and kind of
Yep.
everything's. Why can't I think of words? I've been up since 3:30 in the morning. That's why. Well, the system's kind of evening out,
Stabilizing.
stabilizing. God, that's not a hard word, Mike. Sorry, I'm getting kind of slap happy and overtired, so I just but yeah, I mean, could you imagine? Like I've done the whole like running up and down the ladder, and then out
Yep.
filling it, not like 9,000 times, and by the end of the day, you feel like you've just got hit by a train. And man, it's so nice if you have these digital probes that you're looking on your device and you're seeing these numbers as they're changing in real time.
Yep.
And it makes us more efficient. It makes us look more professional.
That reminds me of one time, man. It was like a 15-minute crawl back in this attic to where they had this unit at, and for whatever reason, they had an adjustable TXV on there. Don't see many of these, or I didn't see many of those in my area, but they had an adjustable TXV on this thing. It was never set up from the beginning, and thank goodness for those wireless ones, man, because dude, like going up there, adjusting TXV, going all the way back out takes 15 minutes, crawling through this attic and crap, going all the way back out to the outdoor unit to be like, okay, we're still at 14 or superheat. Like, go back up in there, like crawl all the way back. You're like, okay, let's go back out. Like, oh, dude, the amount of time saved. So right there, I mean, they pay for themselves.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not making you more sales, anything, just the efficiency standpoint of some of these digital stuff. Well, hell, I've had guys that couldn't calculate superheat and subcool from an analog gauge to save their life, man. Can't add and subtract for anything. Well, your digital gauges, it just literally says 10 SH right there. So we don't
It just does it.
to like worry about math
Right.
and all that crap. And then like all these people saying like, oh, well, the pressures look good. Well, the pressures don't mean shit, by the way, just to give you a heads up. Like that is zero part like of really anything other than it gives you, your saturation temperature or whatnot. But
Oh my God.
anyway,
So you mentioned the. No, I'm sorry. This has almost nothing to do with what you're just saying, but talk about. So this one walk-in cooler I was on, right? So when you get a evaporator coil, typically it's shipped with the TXV bulb unattached because you haven't brazed in the suction line yet. So this walk-in cooler was like 5 years old, and the dang TXV bulb, I could not get inaccurate. Like my refrigerant readings were just like bouncing all over the place. It was like it seemed like the VXV was searching, like it just like it was hunting, right? Well, turned out the bulb had never been installed on the suction line. It was still like it comes with a little baggie of hardware and stuff, and
Yeah.
like it was still there with its little baggie, and I'm just like, buddy, you've never been able to work right.
Compressor might be flooding a little bit there, but hey.
I mean, for like, God knows how long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen them installed on liquid lines and crap too. So it's like,
Oh,
I got things wide open, man, just like blasting refrigerant.
yeah.
Like, but
You know what? I'm a download. Don't get on my case. Please don't get on my case. I'm a download Measure Quick tomorrow because I've been using what's the name the whole time.
well, the
Phil
piece app.
Yeah, I've been using.
Yeah,
Phil
dude,
the whole
Measure Quick's
time,
where
yeah.
it's at, man.
Yeah.
You really got it. How much is the price of Measure Quick these days? It was free when I was using it, but
It's still free. It's
okay.
$50 a month per user if you want the pro version,
Okay.
which allow you to use the AI and streaming.
Streaming.
I think maybe it's just like an introductory thing, but I thought you still had some AI usability even in the free version.
Yeah, I mean the AI encoding, like to take a picture and let the AI pull up all the information. That's part of the pro one, but it still uses AI in the background to help you diagnose. Is what it's
Right.
what it's doing. And for me, Measure Quick is a way of standardizing everything because it's a workflow. I got all the tools, so that's why the guys are just follow the workflow, and it collects a report. It gives me all the data, and also the paid version you get a grading. That's what's cool. When I commission my system, I can get that A plus.
Yeah.
Versus, when I go now, I'm selling it as a standalone service. If any clients or other contractor have any doubts, they're like, hey, can you come commission the system or do a health check? I'll go and slap on Measure Quick and grade their system and show them exactly what needs to get done, because 90% of these inverter systems are never commissioned or wasn't dialed in properly. Airflows are not set. Charges are not set right. When airflow is not set right, static pressures are not set right. All kinds of craziness. And, I think that's where we found a lot of our success is just look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And,
Facts are great. Like literally, I've sold every single thing I've ever sold in HVAC with literally just facts.
Yeah.
And the more facts and it's just evidence. Like, hey, by the way, this is F. It's not even a discussion. Look, we're like compressors like not running. We're whatever.
You'd be surprised by just giving clients facts that when they say, hey, sometimes they get overwhelmed, or they say, hey, let me call someone just to call someone. And then the minute they don't say the same thing, like Wu was saying, he said they don't say the same thing, they get the calling right back.
Yeah.
Another thing is it's easy and it builds a lot of confidence when you can deliver. This is your before, and this is your after.
Yeah.
It's black and white. It's like, hey, I have to lower your static pressure because your return is too restrictive. This is what it's currently sitting at. We're gonna blow out your return. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you a media filter, help with the return flow, do the job, put it in. This is your before, this is your after. This is how much performance we got out of it. Now we're within the right window. So it just builds that confidence with the homeowners. It builds confidence in my team. Even myself, when I first started doing it, I'm like, how do I sell jobs that are really not tangible for homeowners to understand? But once I start doing the high performance and data driven contracting and learning how to collect these data points, then it's just like, all right, this is easy. There's no making mistakes. You could tell by just the measurements, like, all right, 8x10 is only going to give you this much CFM. This is for sure where your restrictions are. For a 3-ton, I'm going to need at least a 20x20 return with a 4-inch media filter, whatever the case may be. And that's how I build the quotes. And we sell a lot of these air upgrades or duct renovation jobs to contractors that are just box swapping, basically. So that is where I'm finding my footing, and that's where we're building a different direction within our industry. Then that's why I don't need to go for the lowest bid. It's like, hey, you know what? Our guys our trucks are rolling. That's it. And then all the shoulder season, like when we start slowing down, when people are like scrambling for the PMs, we're just going out there doing duct rentals, doing IEQ, just chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
no
You have a
stress
think
different
jobs.
customer base. You have a different
Yep.
customer base than a lot of these people are aiming for. And that's one of the things that you guys need to take into consideration. We're talking about high level HVAC work here. We're talking about doing things the right way, doing everything the right way. Most information that you can get, the best tools, the highest end equipment that we can use for our customers. In order to be doing this, you're not competing for lowest bid. We're
no.
offering all this extra information. We're paying all this extra money for all these extra tools that all these other companies don't have, for all this extra information that all these other companies cannot provide, so that we are the only option for all of that top tier client base, for all the people that actually care about their home comfort more than they care about their pocketbook. This is not for those mobile home people that are like, I don't know if I'm going to make rent. You know, I can't afford a freaking $300 a month freaking plot of land or whatever. This is not what we're talking about. We're not trying to make, I realize those people are out there. They need to be served too. But what we're talking about is the people that have their finances right, that want to live a better quality of life, and we just happen to be able to provide that for them.
And I think that, what Anthony is providing, Mark, to your point, is kind of that top tier level of HVAC service. And, I realize when the consumer sees one HVAC truck come down the road from one direction, another HVAC truck coming from the other direction, that's the same thing to them. But I think that, I think when we talk about like elevating the trade and being the best at what we do, we have to fit that within the context of the communities that we serve. And Anthony, you're blessed that you kind of get to be this full throttle, high level, we're going to do the best of the best of the best. So you can kind of be the example of what could be. And like, I think it was Willie that said something about, you learn what you can and, for you, what's going to work for you. And you just kind of, the rest, well, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. So I really do appreciate that about you, man. I think what you're doing is awesome. You're elevating the trade by encouraging us all to be the best we can for our communities and for each other.
Yeah, and once you learn that mindset, it's I used to fear the get annoyed. It's like, oh man, there's another contractor there. This guy's like getting 6 quotes. Now it's like, hey, I'm walking in with my true flow grid, my static pressure, my DG8. I'm going in there checking the airflow. The guy's looking, even the contractor's looking at me. He's like, what is this kid doing? Type thing. And the client's like, how come you're doing this? And then I'm
I'll just
explaining
learn
to the
how to
client
do a
why.
multimeter.
Yeah, I'm explaining to the client why it's important for me to know the airflow and static pressure before I quote you on the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy before me just quoted the client 5 ton, but the ductwork can only handle a 3 ton.
You know what's so crazy about that? A lot. Well, I'm not sure how it is in different states. I'm really learning about how HVAC is done in different states since I've been exposed to a lot of HVAC guys, and I don't know. I have some type of magical power where people just tell me a lot of things for whatever the reason may be. But from where I'm at, a lot of companies, they just, especially back in the days when I first got into it, most companies was box changes. They never did the extra work. They just 20K, 30K units, no duct work, or just slap it on. And that's when I guess X13 was getting into the like really heavy in from PCS to smart motors. And then we had a lot of motor failing. We had a lot of motor failing, especially Linux. I think Goodman got it on it last, then Courier. It was just a lot of motors failing, and it just came back to people not doing their job. I'm
Static
like,
pressure.
why would you sell an inverter system and the ductwork is not even changed out? They just want the
Right.
money. They want the high ticket, real quick money, and then they didn't want to do the ductwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's this Ferrari. If you can pay for it, you don't have any idea how to drive a high performance car, and you're going to put it into a wall the first time you take it around the block. But here's this Ferrari, and I'm
Yeah,
gone as soon as that check clears.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's part of that confidence and mindset. Like there's a lot of things that used to bother me when I was younger and didn't have the confidence, but as you grow and learn and train and use the tools that are available today, we're in an era of tools and information. It's crazy. Like things I would have never seen when I started or never would have thought. Just like having internet on your phone. It was just starting when I was an apprentice. Like having access to data on your phone, that was like, oh, now I could get the manual. That's
Yeah.
when paper manuals started getting phased. I was like, I don't have to fear not finding that manual or having to call my boss like, hey, how do I get this manual? It's information became online. Then now with just the speed of technology, the Bluetooth probes, wireless airflow, the airflow grid, we're just in an era where there's so much accessibility. If you invest in the right places, it pays itself. The money will come.
Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely.
where I just, I fell into it, and I fully accept it and I fully embrace it. And now it's like, as long as I can see what the return is on that tool, I'm not afraid to spend that money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how everything should be. The price of the vacuum pumps alone, like even if we go all the way back to like the necessity stuff, like you look at the price of a vacuum pump, like I don't really feel like I need a vacuum pump actually, But in reality, like a vacuum pump is going to make you way more than that $600 or $800.
My first vacuum pump was a cheap ass vacuum pump from Harbor Freight. That
Right
shit
on.
wasn't pump. That shit wasn't pumping nothing. Then I end up getting that's when I end up getting the wireless field piece and got the field piece vacuum, and I just see a dramatic difference as far as the quality of the tool and putting in the work, man.
Yeah,
It
there's
works.
also technique.
It,
Yeah.
definitely.
How do you train your guys to use the tools? Like the high speed vacuums it's not an old thing, but like Jim Bergman's done a crazy job on, him and Brian Orr review of vacuum book. Like the using a blue vac gauge and looking at the patterns, different patterns will tell a different story, and they explain all that in the book. So you see different sawtooth patterns, different spikes, different plateaus. It will tell you what to look for. Is it your oil? Is it a leak? Is it contaminants? So understanding what the micron gauge is telling you is another tool in itself.
Yep.
And like when I was doing that at my client's house, they came to me like, "What is this? Like this is like the third system they've put in over like the 40 years they've been in this house." And they're just like, they've seen technology and they've seen how guys install from 40 years ago to their first replacement to the third replacement type thing. And they're like, wow, I've never seen this before type thing. So like it gives me a chance to talk about my tools, explain what we're looking at. And those are things that's going to be very memorable for the clients. Like, wow, like even now there's so many clients I'm going to do service calls for that are like, wow, does that connect to your phone? Is I've never seen anyone use that. Even all the service guys are using that big hose with the gauges. I'm like, yeah, man, that's old school. This is where it's at.
Right.
It really just, those are little things that sets us apart. And I assume that everybody should be on these probes, but it is what it is. Not everyone believes in the technology, but we're gonna lead the way.
But
there's a lot of cost in about 1 billion different directions. So it's usually like, which way should I try to focus all this cost to first in all reality? Because all that stuff gets expensive. Where we're talking about probes, we're talking about press fittings, we're talking, like vacuum pumps, freaking recovery.
We're not allowed to
machines,
talk about press
every
fittings.
freaking thing. Yeah.
I
know you
Embrace
over there.
technology,
You're
but not
still
press
over there.
fittings.
You're over there soldering crap, man. Like, I don't want to hear it from you, man. But yeah, everything is super expensive. So just know that finding somebody, this is where that network comes back in. Finding somebody that you can have these conversations with, because you don't need to spend the $50,000 to test all of this crap out. Like everybody's already like used all this stuff. So before you go spending the money, like ask the questions, drop it into the group, or find somebody like Anthony has found, he's got all these people that he could talk to, and he could just throw this stuff up in the air and be like, hey, anybody ever heard about this? Like, and 30 seconds later, you already have your answer. You didn't spend 7 years trying to figure out which way you're going to go for this thing. Like 30 seconds later, boom, you got the answer. Move. Let's go buy ourselves our freaking wireless freaking probes and whatnot, because obviously it is going to be a game changer for my business, by the way.
100%. And that's the power of networking and not being afraid. I get it. Social media, there's people grilling you for the stupidest things. Just do it anyways.
Oh my God.
There's going to be guys that will help you. There's safe places like the Coalition is a great example of,
They're
you know,
Yep.
Jen doesn't
fantastic.
take BS from anybody. You know,
Yep.
anybody doing anything stupid like that will get thrown out. But you know, drop those questions. Ask. It's like, hey, what's the feedback? What are the benefits? How would you prioritize using tools? If I had this budget, where would you start? I definitely
Yep.
learn differently. It's like, you know what? I wish I would have had this one first. You know, I'd be more than happy to share the experience of like where I spent the money, and you know what? This tool wasn't all hyped up to be, and this is why. But it could be for me. It could be for my climate. You know,
Yep.
if you're in different climate, different type of work, it could be different. Maybe, hey,
Yeah.
does anybody else in here have feedback on working on this type of machine with X tool type thing? So I think it's all in a mindset, and I think, you know, with the way keyboard warriors are going, people are getting afraid of asking the simple questions. It's like, bro. But honestly, if you talk to somebody in person, they would not talk like that to you.
Right.
And that's
No,
why I
exactly.
like being at
Yeah,
events and just talking to people, shaking their hands, having a sit down. And that's, you know, that's how I met John Ellis. I ran into him in the hallway of the hotel and I asked him, it's like, hey, mind giving me like half an hour of your time? I want to ask you a few questions about getting to IEQ. What are tools I would need to get started? And he, you know, he blessed me and gave me all of his knowledge. And, you know, now we're great friends. He's been a great mentor to me and really helped me get to where I am today.
John's awesome.
I think that's very important as far as the HVAC industry and all the industry. There is a shift that's going on, that's been going on, and
hmm
it's continuing that's going on. As far as the shift in the industry, as far as people passing down knowledge, a lot of people are stepping away. Some of them getting some little bit of remorse of things they didn't did at the beginning, and now they're more helpful at the end, which is good. Because what's the point of having all this information, all this knowledge, if you're not going to pass it down to the next person? Because a simple
Exactly.
conversation can that. And now, say if he didn't have that conversation with him, and he was more bad of and turned him down, it could have been something different that turned out for him. You get what I'm saying? So you know, it's all about. I never understand the saying of it ain't about what you know, it's about who you know.
absolutely. You
So
know,
you know, a simple conversation and someone could give you some knowledge and you put it into your business or into your life can really change your projection from years to come. You know,
Yeah,
because
there's gonna be times where someone will just tell you they don't have time for you, and hey, you know what?
yeah,
Take it as it is. But they're not
yeah,
gonna insult you. They're
move
not gonna
on.
do anything. That's
yeah,
the
hmm
worst That's the worst case scenario. Hey, you
yeah,
know,
Yep.
they
Yep.
don't have time. That's it. They walk away, and you
Right.
find somebody else. You know,
yeah,
go tap on the next person's shoulder.
yeah,
And that's, you know, that's something I learned at NCI. I'm very grateful. Everybody has been. There was nobody that has rejected me on any front. Guys
yeah.
with companies, trainers, everybody's super welcoming there, and I think that's really where that network is very. It's a multiplier to how fast you can grow.
I got to tell you, like ever since like the last 2 years that I've been kind of more into the social media, trying to break into content creating, the networking and some of the relationships that I have formed through this community, through the coalition, through this page, through a few other pages. It just, I mean, honestly, some of the best relationships I have in my life are people who live states away from me and I have not met in person.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Mark.
Yeah.
yeah, Mark.
Don't worry,
100%.
we gonna have something soon to where we could put the faces and come together. You know, something nothing too big, but just something so we could come together and network and put the faces from people because it been a few people that I want to see. I want to see my man Mark. Definitely want to see my man Mark, man. He's been. I never met this guy. He come on. He's been helping me out with his page. He gets on the live. He spend his hours with me. We do the live every other week, and he's been consistent with me. Like you never know, man. You just never know, man. And like I said, the reason why I made this page because I was on another page. I'm not going to say the name. I say the name a few times if you never heard the story, but I was on another page
Pretty
and
similar page.
yeah, pretty similar. I can't say, but I think I made a post and it was just a lot of negative.
Oh,
It was just so
yeah.
crazy. Then I went to the owner, I was like, hey, you allow this on the page. Nobody's going to delete the post or nothing like that. So I was like, okay, all right. So I'm going to make my own page. And if anybody do to make me feel like how I felt, I'm gonna ban you from my page.
Yep.
And that just next thing I know is just it started 1,000 members. Now we at 30K within 9 months span. We're not even a year right now. So it's like I got people wives that's on the page. They don't even do HVAC. I got a guy who does he's an HVAC owner in Florida. He fix his mechanic fix all his cars. He was like, man, I was watching Willie on your on the thing. You seen Willie video? I'm like, what? He's a mechanic.
Yep.
Why is he even on the page?
Right.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
definitely building a community is important to where we could pass information to each other. I'm just so blessed to have people around me that could give out information and just network, man. That's pretty much what it is. Cause you got to realize the time era we in right now with AI coming out, you're gonna see a lot of people getting into the industry. Just people, even women. A lot of women are getting. I don't seen TikTok. If you go on TikTok or just go on Google, put women in HVAC, you'll see a whole bunch of video of females that's in
Well,
the
the
HVAC. That's in
the
HVAC.
HVAC Chicks Coalition right there
Yeah,
is huge on women in the trades, and then there is the Women in HVAC is a big organization. They're huge.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, but I mean, it's great. You know, we need all kinds. We need all that talent. So I welcome it.
Yeah, we need some more techs in the world for sure
Mhm.
Yeah.
that are not opening up their own shop. Like it seems like everybody trying to open up their own shop, man.
No,
But
but I
we
think
got
that's a different mentality. It's look at collaboration. Even if they want to open their shop, there's enough leads to share.
Yeah.
It's building a team of trusted network around you. Like even
Mhm.
now, I'm working with building science guys. I'm working with general contractors. So I wanted to like go into high performance testing of housing envelopes, but I could test it, but then I don't know how to fix windows. I don't know how to seal certain things, but this general contractor does, and he's interested in high performance homes. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll do something together. Like I was testing one of the houses he's been building up here in Canada, and pre Gyprock, we came out at 1 ACH 50, which was like phenomenal. And I was
Mhm.
like, wow, he really takes this work seriously. So these are guys I want to work with. And you know, you could train guys, and yeah, they get so good they can leave. But hey, you know what? It's starting a business is not all fun and games. It's not easy. Let me help you, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
what can I do with you? Like I'm helping an electrician. I'm helping the contractor. So like that's what I'm doing in my community. Even once a month, I get together with local tradesmen, from plumbers. I got 2 other HVAC companies that come joins us just to talk entrepreneurship, share goals. What are our struggles? I have plumbers. I got electrician. I got any local contractors that want to be a part of something bigger. It's what we've been doing. Just like a Tuesday night at 7 to 9, get together, hang out. It's not about work. It's like, hey, you know, what are our struggles? What are our goals? All of us are. We have guys that are 1 year into business and guys that were 30 years into business in this group. So we're sharing different people's experience, and one of the fastest way to learn is by learning through other people's mistakes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Before we get off, he got one more. This was one from YouTube. He Mog 102. He says, I'm 21 in the trade as a turnover in sales tech. I hate the sales pressures. I could definitely sell, but I want more troubleshooting experience. It's one of his
You might be in the wrong
questions.
company.
Yeah, that's what I was
Go to
thinking,
the
man. If
other
you got sales
contractors in
tech,
town and say that exact line.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe in sales techs personally,
No, because again, if
but
you're just communicating the facts about the system,
that's the sales that I do. Yeah. I mean, I'm still doing the same damn sales. I'm in marketing now, and I still do the same thing. Like, here's your problem. Like, here's all this crap. You should probably focus on this. By the way, if you want me to do it, it's going to be this cost.
It
Like,
sounds like he's working in the wrong system. That's pretty much
Yeah.
what it is. You working
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
wrong system because why are you even an HVAC tech if you started as a tech? You should be doing
Well,
installs or
I've
going
seen
back.
it so many times on Facebook pages where people are, hey, I want to get started. What in the trade? What should I focus on? And then I've seen people pipe up, sales, learn how to. It's like, shut up. Learn how to diagnose. Learn how to troubleshoot. Learn sequence of operations. Learn to read a dang wiring diagram.
Yeah. Start back with the basics, man. Find a company that can give you back with the basics. And it don't always have to be residential. You know, it's so many lanes. It's like we have refrigeration, we have commercial. It's so many lanes, like Anthony said, so many lanes. I can't stand when someone say, "Oh, I just want to do resident." It's so many other lanes. What's the worst that can happen from you learning something that a lot of people are not doing? If everybody's doing residential, and you know there's not that many certain amount of companies that really truly want to do the work and really want to help their employees, then go somewhere else that could help you. It might not be residential. That might not have been a calling for you. Everybody got a different upbringing in the HVAC industry, of course, but you definitely want to get your foot in the ground and start with the basic wherever you at, whether you're doing residential, commercial, heavy commercial, grocery, apartment complex, anything. Just learn the basics and then go from there. Because once you learn it, they can't take it from you, and you can always maneuver around and go to different states or move or go to a different company that appreciates you. But if you start at sales, the only company you could go to is a sales type company. Because if you go to a real company and say, "Hey, go do the Delta T, go do all this," and you don't know a damn thing. The only thing you know is sales. You're gonna look crazy in front of that client because a client could size. Most clients now are sizing you up. They'll look at you and you sound like a robot. You sound like a robot. People pick that up real quick. And one thing I learned about customers, they'll hit you back with a question and they'll expect you to have an answer in about 2 seconds.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think we're on the same page there. Yeah, it sounds like our young friend there he's just in the wrong company.
Yeah. How do you balance work life? Work-life balance. Starting off, I start at 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. most days. I mean, that's still. I think we're boiling back down to the company.
I hate the answer to every question is that you are with the wrong company.
Every day.
It sounds like he's working for a big box company. They got him wide open.
It definitely sounds like you're in a private equity company that's
either that
focused.
Or is it the same person asking that question?
Yeah, it's the same person.
Okay, yeah. So it's gonna be a private equity. We work until we run out of service calls. And man, you're in the wrong company, dude. Just find a local
smaller shop, man.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend a smaller shop. Actually, Anthony's size shop is typically about perfect, somewhere between 5 to 12 techs or so. They're still very hands-on. They typically are trying to teach the techs and grow internally, and they usually are very highly focused on keeping the techs and stuff that they have.
Yeah.
Because turnover is a problem when you're that size.
And the nice thing with Anthony's size company too is it's, I mean, everybody knows everybody, but then too, it's big enough to where maybe you have benefits and healthcare and different things. I mean, my first contractor I worked for, it was just me and him, and it's benefits. Well, I pay you.
Right.
I'm sorry, man.
It's true though.
Yeah.
So I think
Today's Friday.
from my side, work-life balance was one of the reasons why I built my company the way I built it, was because I did not get that luxury, and I just had my kids at the time, and I needed to be there for the kids. So, and I see it. There's only one guy in my company that does not have kids. Everybody else has kids, and I get it. Kids get sick. There's an emergency. And that's part of the fundamental. The way I build my team is everybody starts as a helper. Everybody starts from the bottom. I need to be able to change anybody out. I can step into any shoes. If my helper calls in sick because his daughter has something. But remember, it's a give and take. You abuse it, you're going to lose it. But I will give you the benefit of doubt. I believe in family first. And that is the way I built my company. So it's a company that the culture you're looking for. Being a business owner is a bit different. But being an employee, it's a culture. But as a business owner, virtually doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, I don't know how to figure out the work-life balance.
You just decide where you want to put your time. That's what it comes down to. Yep. Like, I put my kids to bed, I'm back on. It's like on the business. During the day, I'm in the business. After work, I got my kids. So it depends on what the company truly believes in,
Mhm.
but that's the way I'm building my company. It's so that everybody can interchange. If there's an easy job, if it's a harder job, hey, you know what? I need to step in. We'll step in. I could put this guy here. I could put that guy there. Unless you want to really start specializing in a specific job, but then usually those specialty jobs are not urgent. If I need to postpone it, I'll postpone it. So,
Right.
but the core jobs, if you have the fundamentals, my company will still keep rolling. We're not canceling installs unless something catastrophic happens,
Right.
um, type thing.
And that's
So
usually always on the distributor, like the canceling of installs.
I
Right?
don't know if that answers the question, but I
No,
think
that
it's
helmet.
company culture and the way, I think he's just not in the right place.
It's
Yeah.
just before we get off, it's totally different compared to when I first started and everybody else back then to now. I can't even imagine trying to be a worker in this climate right here. Especially with these companies that's hiring, they throw you to the wolf so fast, put you in the van and let you loose. They just
Yeah.
let you loose.
Hmm.
And I've been seeing it a lot more because I'm coming behind these people. So I'll be like, when I go behind these calls, most of them young guys. I asked the client, "Oh, was it a young guy?" Most of them said, "Yes, it was."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're throwing people in
which
trust
is
pretty
which is
quick.
which is which is good. I can't. It's good and bad and everything because now you come behind looking like the superhero and you sold the job, but then it gives a bad taste on the client mouth because now the person that's coming behind them, they looking at everything you do.
Yeah.
But like I say, it goes back to just doing your job. If you do your job, you don't have to worry about anything. The way Anthony is doing it is the way everyone should be doing, but not everybody is going to do that type of work. But if you do all you have to do to make that client happy and give them the offer that you want to give them to your best ability, there's no issue. Should be no fight back. I can understand a client say, "Hey, I appreciate you for explaining everything, but I can't afford it." I can respect that.
Yep.
Hmm.
I can respect that. Now, if it's a client say, "Hey, I just want the cheap or I can't respect that because now you playing with me now." So,
Yeah.
so definitely got to learn your type of client because not everybody want that Ferrari with the attachments to it. Some people just want that.
Like a Chevy
The,
Malibu that barely
yes,
runs. You know.
yes,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
don't
So you,
judge that book by its cover. I'll promise you
No.
that right
oh
now, dude.
no,
I sold
yeah,
an XV20 to some
yeah.
place that, like, I mean, I didn't even want to go in there and do the maintenance on this place because it smells so bad, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like, don't judge a book by its cover, because I mean, I also went to another one, was like, don't quote this guy anything but XV20s, and he was
yeah,
like, you got anything lower than 14 seer, man? Like, so like, never judge a book by a cover, but
Yeah, I
absolutely.
think it's another part of it is just learning how to explain value, how to
Yeah,
portray your value.
Yeah.
You put
yeah,
value ahead of price, that is where the magic happens.
yeah,
A lot of people are putting price before value, and that's it. I'm charging at the highest tier in my market, but I can demonstrate the value. I can
yeah,
show you what you're paying for, and that's where people are understanding. And I think that's where we're finding
Hmm.
our footing. Really,
yep,
it's all in the data,
yeah,
presenting that
100%.
value. Just like walking into a sales call with the TrueFlow grid, it takes me an extra 15 minutes. Deploy it, put in 4 test ports, and off we go. I got a whole bunch of valuable data. And then I can explain to you exactly why I cannot put a 5-ton unit on this system. I could predict to you what's going to happen. Say, hey, you can go with it, but here's my number. Call me in 3 years when you need to get that motor change or when you need to fix your duct work. I can guarantee you that ECM is gonna fail, or your compressor is gonna fail. This is exactly why. Give them the analogy with the blood pressure with your heart. That's what high static pressure does.
Yep. Now, Levin says, how do you show value before price? You kind of illustrated that there a little bit, but yeah, it's just more data, like, honestly.
Hmm.
When another guy said, so both aspects of this, a guy walks into a customer's home, goes outside for 10 minutes, comes back in and says, hey, you have a dead compressor. We're going to sell you a brand new system. It's going to be $14,000. Okay. Then another company comes in, they go out 10 minutes, spend outside, then they go inside up in the attic, they go look through all this stuff. Then they come over to you and they say, yes, you do have a dead compressor. It's looking like if we replace the compressor, blah, 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 it's going to cost this. We can replace the entire system. It's looking like up in your attic that we possibly might need a little bit of ductwork stuff because your static pressure readings are a little bit high coming off of this, blah, 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 blah. The first guy said, you got a dead compressor, it's going to cost you $14,000. The second guy said, here's all this information about your entire full-blown system, and it's going to cost you $18,000.
Right.
And they go with the $18,000 one, like almost every time.
Yeah.
And it's literally just because you just opened up and uncleared the veil of this mystery that they have in their house, and like how you're
because you're doing
make it better.
Sorry.
What?
Go ahead.
You're looking at it more as, you know, and I think this is where HVAC needs to go, where technicians need to go is looking at the whole home as a system itself, not just the HVAC system, not just the compressor in the HVAC system, but the whole home itself is a system. When you go to the doctor, you don't just talk in terms of like, well, what's this one problem with it? It's how is it affecting the whole body? And that's how I think we need to look at HVAC. It's you know, in the same way that my neighbor whose system I'm going to help him replace, he's replacing an 80% furnace with another 80% furnace, 2-ton, basically identical system, just more modern to what he has now. Would he benefit from a 90 or 90% or 96% furnace? Maybe a little, but he's got a 125-year-old 900 square foot house with original windows and doors. No, get your 80%, dude. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Present them with all the details, and then like I said, like you can upsell things very simply just by explaining the fact that there's like a benefit to the customer. Just like you went and bought a freaking brand new iPhone or some crap. Well, how much benefit did that have to you? It had zero benefit to you as a customer. However, they showed all this fancy crap online, and then all your friends and stuff were wanting to get them, and so you went and jumped on the train, but like they didn't bring you anything. Well, Anthony can go over there and flat out tell you, like, you're going to breathe easier. Your humidity level is going to be more controlled. You know how in the middle of the summertime it gets 70% humidity in the house, and like you're just like sweating even though it's 70 degrees in here? We're going to get rid of that. Like, we're going to do all these things, and like you just add the value on there, and then the price is just
it's sell for itself.
You're not selling price versus price. You're selling, we have this awesome stuff that's going to change your entire life, and when you wake up in the morning, you're going to feel amazing compared to what you feel right now. Or here's a price, and that's the difference.
That's all.
We're selling
For me,
the result.
Yeah, part of it is also presenting all the little details that get to homeowners asking the right questions. It's really where it's at for value. It's like, at this price, did they include this? Did they check the static pressure? Did they do this? We include this because of this. Look, this is what I see. This is why we have to do it this way. We include widening every job. We return widening all our returns as part of our package, because 90% of my retrofits is because returns are too small.
Always.
Explain it to them. This is the issue. This is your biggest restriction. And with the new ECMs, it will make a big difference. And I give the examples of where I'm the third technician to have gone. I'm the third one to change a motor for the third time in 6 years. When I got there, nobody has ever put in test ports. Nobody took static pressure. It's because the motor's under warranty. They're treating the symptom and not the root cause. I went in there, slapped in my DGA, checked the airflow. Yep, for sure. It was rolling out on a bit of high temperature. Airflow was too low. Even though it was on max speed, I was able to determine. I told the client, look, your airflow is too low. Why your motors, the ECM is probably failing, and because your static pressure is so high. You got access to a 20 by 20 return, but it comes down 8 by 12. I'm like, the issue is right there. Mm-hmm. And this is what I'm going to do. Not only am I going to change your motor, we're going to include fixing your return drop. It's going to be this much. And done.
Yep. Right.
And we're
so basically, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
You basically just told the customer, I'm really listening to you, and I'm not just giving you some off the shelf, one size fits all solution. I'm looking at your particular situation and what's going to work best for you, and I'm tailoring what I can do to you. And
100%.
that's the value.
100%.
Yeah, because he could have just put the motor in and been just like the rest of the guys.
Taillights, bye.
Yeah, it would have been quick and easy. Don't get me wrong. You know, you'd have been on to the next call and all that stuff.
And
but your
that's the
customer
thing.
wouldn't have felt it.
That's the thing I like about the way the industry is now. Everybody do things differently. You know, it's not like a one stop show. Like what works for you
Right.
may not work for the next person.
Yeah.
And it definitely depends on where you're located at. I didn't really understand that. Like certain locations, you could charge more than where you're at this location, or
Yep.
you could do this type of work compared to this type of work. Like how we were saying when she's in forgive me, I done forgot your name, but she was in Arizona. She was having 100,
Amanda.
yeah, Amanda. She was having 100 all week, and she don't even use heat strips compared to someone that's in a cold climate. So you know, it's just different things.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right, but like speaking of which, I want to tap in. Anthony, you said you're setting a whole bunch of heat pumps up there, man. I know I've talked to you about this, but you're way north, right? So compared
Climate
to
Zone 6.
yeah. So how are these heat pumps working up in Canada for you?
So this is actually a funny one. Every time I do a training in the States, this is something I talk about a lot. And I actually have live data performs that I pull up and I show them.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Willie, when I was watching your first live, whenever he's like, "You guys hit minus 40." I'm like, "Yeah, we get pretty close to minus 40 F, which is also minus 40 C, by the way."
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cold climate heat pump, I have an Amana S Series 7.
Okay.
This year, my heat strips did not come on during the coldest time. I'm running a 3-ton cold climate heat pump, and I'm maintaining about 20 degrees Celsius in my house.
Okay.
Given our homes up here are built tighter, we are also built more insulated, so it can have an impact.
Right.
I looked
But
at
I
some
mean,
homes
still,
in
a heat
Texas.
pumps has still got to heat. You know, like no matter how well you're insulated, the heat pump still has to pull heat from outside somewhere.
The
and if your heat strips aren't coming on, it's doing it. That's awesome.
Yeah, the
That's
technology
awesome.
is there. I went from a 15 kilowatt heat strip kit to 5 kilowatt supplementary heat right now, and
That
even the
blew my
5 kilowatt didn't
mind.
come on this year.
That
And we
blew
have
my
a
mind. He told me you had 5 kW in there. Of course, he did tell me that he's got 10K like disconnected, that he can reconnect it if it hits the fan. But like at first, I was like, dude, you're in Canada and you got 5K. Like I've literally got 15K and I'm in Oklahoma here. Like anyway.
Yeah, so it's the technology is there. Reading things on paper is one thing, and that's why I decided to put it to the test. I have all the data. I'm tracking my electrical consumption. I'm tracking the usage, the demands, the temperatures, and if you want to talk, hit me up, and I'll share my data with you. It's like this is no BS. I'm not here to sell you the system.
Right.
I put it in my own home to test it out to see what it was. I was
That's
at the
awesome.
symposium earlier this year when we had that cold snap here in Montreal. I was texting my wife and I'm like, "Hey, if the house is not keeping up, go downstairs and turn the breaker back on." Because I shut off the 10 kilowatts. She's like, "Nope, everything is good." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Well, if you see the house is dipping, just go turn on that breaker because I have it set on off."
Yeah.
So it's just I wanted to see the limits.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at my consumption according to the stat, it was really high consumption because I set it for 15 kilowatts because it has to know to run that RPM when the heat strip comes in. But I was like, oh wait, it's calculating on whenever it gets a call that it's calculating 15 kilowatts of consumption. So that's why I went and buy the Emporium View and I hook it up directly to my panel to see live amperage draws. Like my heat pump peaks at like 5 kilowatts an hour from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then steadies at sub 1 kilowatt to maintain temperature all day type thing.
I'll be honest. I don't even know if that's good.
This year you guys can deal with electricity. You guys are gas pricing.
Yeah.
Are you saying
No,
you're
I'm just
actually
telling
able
you,
to
look at
adjust your kilowatt hour usage based on the need? So
That's what inverter is all about. It adjusts on its own based on what it does. That's the whole inverter technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I find it wild that there's still SEER 14, SEER 13 units down in the States. When I go do trainings, I'm like, wow, I haven't touched a straight cool unit in a decade. I've been doing cold climates. for a good part of the decade now. So
Wow.
when I see you
Wow.
guys are going through this electrification phase, I'm like, I'm mind blown that, wow, we are a little bit ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You just totally blew my mind because I've been just kind of as a fun pet thing. I've been studying BAS technology in like bigger like hospitals, office buildings, stuff. How that works. Just a rabbit hole that I decided to jump in. So I never really thought about that. Like inverter technology is basically BAS technology, but on a much smaller scale for a residential application. That just wow, like I'm sorry, that just clicked. And so yeah, if you heard a noise, if there's like smoke, it's
Right.
Yeah,
wow.
so I'm pretty much as far north as more north than any one of you guys can hit in the
Oh,
Yeah,
states.
yeah.
Santa
No.
Claus is like what, just like a quarter
A few minutes
mile?
away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
just
your
a few
Yeah.
right.
minutes further north.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That
that's
blows my
what
mind.
guys. I was talking to guys in Texas, and they were like so skeptical about heat pump. I'm like, dude, I could guarantee you probably don't even need a heat strip in Texas
Yeah.
type thing. But I
Yeah.
just don't know how the housing, the build of the house is, because when I was looking at construction, I was looking
It's
at
poor.
the
It's poor.
OBS, the frame, and then that's it. I was telling the guys, they're like, yeah, they may put a little bit insulation, gyp rocket, that's it, that's all. But if you come up here, we got our outer siding, then we got vapor barrier that's taped up, then we got the plywood, then we got the framing, then we got the insulation, then we got another vapor barrier, then we got gyp rock. That is a
Wait.
typical.
Wait. No. 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 No way. You got two. You can't have two vapor barriers, and you're trapping vapor in between the barriers.
It's a Tyvex. It's
Well, yeah. Okay. So you put Tyvek. Yeah. Okay.
on
Okay.
the
Okay.
outside. Yeah.
Okay. I got you. I got you. Okay. Yeah. That's literally how we build ours here too, basically. So
Okay.
just our construction sucks real bad.
It does.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
if you want to see good construction in the United States, you got to go to a house that's like 100 years old.
I mean, well, so I mean,
Maybe not.
different buildings, stuff back then. So like we do things differently now, but I don't know. American homes are. I mean, hell, we're still building stuff out of 2x4 walls and whatnot down here half the time. So, anyway, some of the spray foam stuff gets crazy, but I'm not even a fan of spray foam anymore. I don't think it's healthy for us, but that's just me.
They're gonna have one of them commercials. If you had spray foam,
No, it's gonna come. Dude. I've seen. Have you seen any evaporator coils that have been completely deteriorated because of freaking spray foam homes? You can't tell me that stuff's good for humans if
yeah,
it's gonna tear up a freaking evaporator coil like that within 2 years.
yeah,
Blows my mind.
No, it's crazy all the stuff we're breathing in. My wife and I were up at there's a kind of like a Lowe's or a Home Depot, but it's called Menards here in the
Yeah,
Midwest.
yeah.
And we were up there one day. We found these air freshener things that you can clip to your air filter. You know,
Yep.
like I'm still relatively new to the trade at this point, and but people are just like no, don't use the no, no. I'm like, well, it doesn't really inhibit the airflow. But they're like, no,
Right.
VOCs.
VOCs.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh crap! And sure enough, though, because like she, of course, caught she's cute. I can't say no. So I went and put one in, and sure enough, it's like, oh man, I can feel it in my throat. Like
Yeah.
the cats are sneezing and stuff. It's just like that
Cats.
smells kind of nice, but I don't think
Right.
I'm using these. So yeah, it's just crazy all the stuff, man.
I appreciate y'all tuning in, man.
Yep.
Appreciate you having us together,
Been
man.
fun. Thank you for
Any
coming,
any
Anthony.
any
Yes, sir.
any
Good to see you,
last
Michael.
last shot for the night? Any other things anybody want to speak on before we get off, or want to say, or any advice to someone that's maybe watching or watching it tomorrow or whatever?
Yeah, what do you got,
Anything?
Anthony, to start somebody up that is about to jump off of that cliff into starting their own HVAC business and is about to jump into your world? What advice?
It's about the mindset. Plan what you want to do. Is don't just jump into it. A lot of guys, honestly, I think I started my reputation way before I started my business. And that is something I didn't realize how important it is. It's every door you step into, you represent yourself. Doesn't matter who you work for. You represent yourself first and foremost. It got to a point where working in the burbs, across the 4 companies I've worked for, everybody knew my name. They called my number, but it's always okay, I'm representing this company. But I've always represented myself the way I carried myself. Then when I decided to start my own company, it's when everyone's still calling me. They didn't care who I worked for. By the time I worked for my third company, I realized I don't care who you work for. I want you. That is what really clicked. So it's not just overnight that I decided to start a business. It's because I started
Yeah.
recognizing people are asking for me and not the company I worked for.
Mhm.
And that is where
Right.
it started. It didn't start just because one day I decided I'm good enough to start my own business. It's because I felt like I had the reputation to start my own business. And once you get started, it's continuous growth and training. Do not underestimate training. It's like you're never good enough. You're never know everything.
No.
It's a continuous journey, and embrace that journey. Use that opportunity to meet the people, talk to people. It's gonna blow your mind. It's just being open-minded. You cannot be narrow-minded and think you're the top dog and you know your stuff better than anybody else. Yeah, you may be good at what you do, but hey, I thought I was good at what I did until I realized I wasn't. So that's my 2 cents on getting started up is that mindset of continuous growth and networking and really doing it for yourself, and don't matter who you work for, but that's just me, and that's how I started.
Good advice.
Dude, thanks so much for sharing your story, man. Absolutely.
You're
My
amazing.
pleasure. Hey, I'm glad
Love
if
it.
I can inspire even one other person tonight. That's the goal. It's just here to elevate the trade, and I'm
Into
open
that.
to any questions. Anybody want to reach out? Just feel free to hit me up and have a chat.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man, for coming in, man. Appreciate you, Michael. Appreciate you, Mark. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Yep.
YouTube, Twitch, everybody. I think we had a lot of people on YouTube this time go around that have been steady on YouTube, man. So I appreciate everybody.
Oh.
Until next time, we'll be back.
Yes, sir. Take
See
care,
ya.
everybody.
Good
Appreciate
night.
you, man. All right, man.